Hey YouTube, what's up? And JT Sasuke. I'm here to bring you my review for the Arrow. So, jumping right into this, plain and simple, this was the best episode of Arrow this season. So, we're gonna start off with the flashback. Basically, Oliver and the little boy, they were walking through China. They were trying to get away from the people that were chasing them when they run into Shadow. But it's not Shadow, it's actually her twin sister. I didn't know she had a twin. But he accidentally calls her Shadow, which raises suspicion on how Oliver knows Shadow. He says it's a long story, but can you please help us get off the streets? Eventually, she does. What eventually ends up happening is at her home, he ends up taking a shower, and then she notices that he has the same tattoo that Shadow has, or had before she died. So she realized that they were more than just what they were than what he was talking about, what he was leading them to believe. So then, after that, we come back again. He gets out the shower. He's talking to Shadow's twin sister, and she's like, "Look, I seen the tattoo. You're more than just friends with my sister. You were more than just friends with my sister. You need to start telling me what happened. I'm gonna call the police." He was like, "Look, okay, I'll tell you. Don't call the police." And she was like, "I already did." That's when Oliver was like, "Hey, we need to go." Talking to the little boy, he was like, "Why? What's going on?" He looked at her. He looked at one of her mirrors, and there was a red laser on it. He told everybody to get down. They got down. Bullets came flying through the window. They were shooting at him. He told the two of them to go, and he stayed low. Eventually, two people came in, and Oliver was able to catch both of them by surprise. And we had a really good fight scene between Oliver and the two people. Obviously, Oliver was able to incapacitate one of them enough so that way he could actually have a one-on-one fight with one of the guys for a while. Eventually, the little boy's parents were able to come in and actually save them. So after that, he eventually ended up telling her everything that happened between Shadow. Not everything, but he just let her know that I knew your sister, and I loved her. I knew your father too, and they both saved my life more than once, but they're dead now. And that's all she really wanted, was to know what happened to her father and her sister. Moving on from that, Ra's al Ghul had basically set up Oliver. He put him in a position where he had to either go to prison for the rest of his life, or accept being Ra's al Ghul. So after the event in which all those people were killed, including the mayor, Captain Lance put out a arrest warrant for the Arrow and his accomplices, and reinstated the anti-Arrow task force. With that being said, he actually pushed for, even though they didn't have the finances, he made sure that they pushed forward the extra manpower and extended hours, so that way all cops could be looking for the Arrow. He also posted stops at every at every train station, every bus station, and every airport, so there's nowhere for Oliver to go. Eventually, what ended up happening was they were looking for Akito, I believe his name is, if I remember correctly, because he was the one who was impersonating the Arrow. What ended up happening was they ended up tracking him down, only to find Ra's al Ghul along with Akito. And after that, Ra's al Ghul basically told him, "You have two choices: either rot in the cell, come with me." Ra's al Ghul left, and that led to an extreme chase between Oliver, his friends, and the police, and they all narrowly escaped. Roy actually had to get himself not only out of the situation, but back to the Arrow Cave. After that, we have Captain Lance, who gets taken captured. Captured. Sorry guys. He actually gets taken captured by the League of Assassins, only for Ra's al Ghul to tell him that Oliver Queen is the Arrow. He then initiates an arrest warrant for Oliver Queen, And eventually, what ends up happening is Oliver Queen decides to turn himself in. And after he turns himself in, on his way to what I believe in prison, the Arrow or Roy attacks. Now Roy attacks because they were arguing with him when he initially decided to go to jail. He didn't tell them; he just did it. And he was like, "Look, you got to follow me all this time. I need you guys to follow me a little bit more until the very end, until it ends." And when they went back to the Arrow Cave, Diggle was saying that we have to leave. The place isn't secure anymore. He was like, "Why? And what are we just gonna do? We're just gonna hide and wait it out," which is basically what Oliver wanted them to do. But Roy feels a sense of entitlement to Oliver just because Oliver saved his life, so he felt like he needed to do the same. So what ended up happening was he ended up putting on Oliver's suit, attacking the police, and turning himself in at the Arrow, taking Oliver's place. So, with that being said, we have one more storyline in this. Roy Harper. Roy Harper, he had surgery, everything was good, but he had a blood clot. And that blood clot was going to be very severe. If they did surgery, right now, at the moment, there's a chance of him dying, or at least getting some type of brain damage. And if they didn't do the surgery, there was a chance of the blood clot moving and dying. Ray actually said that he has the nanotechnology that would actually enable him to put nano robots in his bloodstream. They would go up and they would shrink the blood clots so that way it looks almost non-existent. The hospital said that they couldn't the doctor said the hospital won't permit anybody to do untested surgeries. So this led to Felicity eventually doing it with the help of her mom. Her mom didn't actually help in the procedure, but she did actually end up helping her do it. Just giving her kind of like a moral compass, saying if you love him, do it. And she ended up helping him. She ended up saving his life, and it actually ended up working. She almost got in trouble, but her mom was very intimidating and threatened to sue with lawyers. 3, as a matter of fact. So that's very interesting. Obviously, Felicity was involved with the stuff with Oliver. They seen what happened with Ray did, but I don't think Ray's too concerned with that right now. Ray also pronounced his love to Felicity, but Felicity couldn't say anything. And her mom made it apparent, look, the reason why you didn't say anything back is simple. You're in love with Oliver. And she was like, well, Oliver's unavailable. And she was like, yeah, I know. Well, you have 2 good guys. You just have to choose. I think she's going to choose Ray. I don't know why I keep saying Roy, guys. I think she's going to choose Ray. Because she knows the kind of stuff that Oliver is in right now. I think she's going to choose Ray. But in the meantime, that's it. That was the episode. It was a really good episode. You guys, I hope I didn't make the episode sound boring. It was actually really, really good. One of my favorite parts of the episode is when they were, right before Roy actually attacked the police, when they were taking Oliver to prison. It was the conversation that Captain Lance had with Oliver. And they were just talking about him and why he was doing this and his morals. And he actually told him that you turned us into criminals and liars. Mr. Queen, you're not a hero, you're a villain. It was just something so great about that dialogue. It was so intense, and Oliver was so sincere, and he had a very apologetic look on his face. And everything about that scene just made the entire episode just that much better, to show that Oliver didn't want things to come to this. You could see it on his face. So Stephen Amell is a really good actor. Everybody on this show are really good actors and actresses. But that's my review. It was a great episode. Like the review if you did. Comment down below, tell me your thoughts, and subscribe for more content.